Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about this thing. You may be asking yourself, why are we going over using a pick? Because I specifically said in our last video that I don't use one. Well, I do every once in a while, and it's a useful skill to know if you're covering songs by people that use a pick, or just in general. Let's grab the bass and get started. Alright, so before we start playing on the bass, today I'm using my Fender Jazz Bass. But before we start, you really need to know how to hold your pick. So, pick, also called a plectrum, is very specific. And there's a lot of different types. There's a lot of different thicknesses. This one is a 0.88 millimeter. So it is fairly thin, as you can see. Very thin. But there's all sorts of ones. I have ones that are thinner. I have ones that are much, much thicker. So I have all sorts of them. Here's one that's a little thicker. I have all sorts of picks. They're everywhere. And this is just because I used to play guitar, and I still do. So a pick, there's a very specific way you hold it. You don't just grip it however you want to. No, it's bad. You're going to hurt yourself. I know. I have injured myself before, not from using a pick, but I will go over that in a later video. But using a pick, you use your index and thumb. Rather than playing normally, where you use your index and middle finger, you're using your index and thumb for this. So your pick is essentially a replacement for your index finger. So when holding the pick, you should have honestly, it's personal preference. Doing research, it says that you should have the text side towards your index finger or the text side towards your thumb. It's completely both ways. So you just want to do whatever's most comfortable for you and whatever you think is best for you. But when holding it, this should be an extension of your finger, so you should just rest along the side of your index finger. So holding it should look like this on the end. On your index finger should just be resting along the side. Then, your thumb. Your thumb is just holding it in place. So, your pick hold should look like this, with your thumb just teeing across. So it should almost be a T, right across your thumb. So, that's how to do it. Let's get to playing. Alright, so playing with a pick on a bass. Now, it is very similar to playing with on a guitar, except for you're not strumming. So what you're doing is you're just going back and forth, just hitting that string. So we're going to start just on the E string, and I'm going to stand up so you can see what I'm doing on my bass. So, as you can see, we have the pickups, and we're just going to start on the E. So you hold your pick, thumb securing it to the extension that is of the index finger. Then you just put it and rest the tip of the pick. There should be very little of your pick, probably about the size of your pinky nail, maybe a little more depending on what you like. But you should take it and just down. So, let's do that again. Now let's play 4 quarter notes. Now it's the same technique, both down and up. When you're going down, you're going to push down with your thumb, and you're actually going to push up with you're actually not going to push up with your index finger. You're going to pull up with your thumb. So everything here is your thumb. Your index finger, it's extended. Your thumb is support. Let's try that. Let's try 4 eighth notes using what you just learned to go up and down. Now, if you want the best volume, my suggestion for your volume is most of the way up, but not all the way up on your front pickup, and your back pickup should be a little, like about halfway, a little less than that, just so you can get wherever you feel comfortable with your pick. I normally play my pick on the bass that you saw in the past video, my Music Man, about mid, because my pickup is back here. And on this bass, I tend to play a little bit more forward, a little more towards the neck. So let's try eighth notes now. So, eighth notes on the E. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so now let's speed it up a little bit. Let's do eighth notes completely on the E string, And we're going to do one measure of eighth notes a little bit faster. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, let's try doing a little pattern of 1/8 note on each string, going up and down. So that will be 2 measures of eighth notes on each string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 2 and 3 and 4 and. That is not easy. I can tell you that from experience. It took me a while to learn how to play with a pick. If you learn on guitar, it's a little easier because you strum. And same thing with chords. But that's another video. Now, I want to teach you a little song example, so stay tuned. Hey guys, me from the future here. So I just wanted to apologize for that background noise in that last clip. I know this video is a lot of fun, but I don't want you guys to be discouraged from it. My sisters were across the hall and didn't realize I was filming. I got them to quiet down though, so it's all good. Keep enjoying. Make sure to subscribe. So now I'm going to teach you a little piece of a song so you can try and get your hang on it. So, I don't know how many of you know the band Tool, but their bassist, Justin Chancellor, plays all with a pick. So we're just going to do a quick snippet of the bass line from their song 46 and 2. Now this song is the first Tool song I learned, and I learned it without a pick. So you can play all of these songs that people play with a pick without a pick, but it sounds a little better. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with an open D. The D string is your bass for this. So you're always using the D. So you're always hitting the D on every stroke. You will be hitting the D, not as chords, but you will be always going back to your D string. So you hit the D, and then you actually go straight up to that octave, the 7th fret on your G string. So it's... And then this is where we start getting into technique of hammer-ons. We start going up to 5 and 7, so we drop back to the D after every note. So it's D, 7, D. And how I suggest pick it is down, up, up. Then we're going to go into hammer-ons, and we're going to go 5, 7. And that's going to be another down. Let's try that nice and slow, just what we just went over. Let's move that mic so you can see. Good. So now, we're going to hit that D again, and then go up and do a pull-off 8 to 7. So that's 7 and D. So it's actually the 2 Ds, because it's octaves. So that's octave. We're just going up the octaves. So let's try what we just went over nice and slow. And now let's add that 8 to 7 pull off. Good. Then we're going back to that 5, 7, and then we actually drop down to 3 and 5. So it gets a little different there. And there's one variation which we will go over. So let's try that nice and slow, that entire riff. So as you can see, we're going back to the D. Every time we hit one of our notes on our G string, we're going back to the D. But we never play any frets on the D. So my suggestion, start here, index finger on 5, and pinky finger on 7. And start with pinky finger on 7. And then hammer on. I tend to hammer on with my 3rd finger. Probably should be doing it with your 4th though. But do whatever you feel is most comfortable. Both, whatever. Most likely, 3rd will be the most comfortable. And then I say shift up to 2 and 1. Then back down, same as I said before. So, let's run that entire thing a little bit faster, and let's run it up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now, we're going to do that twice. That same speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. that is the general riff. And once you can play that, you can easily say that you can play with a pick. But let's just play that variation. The variation is, instead of dropping down back to this, so that part stays the same, but instead of going down to 5-7, we actually go up to 12 and then drop down to 11. So let's try that nice and slow, just up to that. Now for that, it's wherever you feel most comfortable. I suggest 1 and 2. So let's go. So let's play that original riff twice, and then go to the shifted riff. Now, I want to just quickly go over that variation one last time, because I do want to make sure you know it in entirety. So let's play it. So D, open, 7, open, 5, 7, 8, 7, 12, 11, and then you actually go back to the 8. You don't go to the 5, 7, you never go to the 3, 5 in this riff. 3, 5 is never touched, 5, 7 only touched once. It's open, 7, open, 5, 7, open, 8, 7, open, 12, 11, open, 8, 7. And that is that riff. So let's play the standard riff twice, followed by the variation once, followed by the main riff once. We're going to play it a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now, let's meet back in the chat. Alright, we're back, and I just want to say one more quick pieces of advice. So like 1 or 2 more pieces of advice. First, when playing with a pick, don't rest your hand on the body. Resting your hand on the body will cause you to get into that habit, and your hand will slowly get more tense the further out you go. It'll be very, very, very difficult to hit that G string, and especially if you're playing that riff and you have your hand mounted, then what's going to happen is your hand's going to be mounted and you're barely going to be able to hit that because your hand's mounted. So, very bad idea to mount your hand. Always let it raise, let your hand walk along with you. There's one piece of advice. Second piece of advice, be careful. Playing with a pick is fun, and it's great if your hands hurt a lot from callousing. But it is still a very difficult task. You can riff, you can do anything, you can play chords, but it's still very fun. So don't let that discourage you. Alright, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed. I loved playing that. Tool's a great band and such a fun one to play. And overall, I hope it's fun. If you enjoyed what you saw today and you want to learn more riffs, or you just want to learn some more bass, make sure you subscribe and like. Your likes and your subscriptions show me that you care and help me grow. Also, if you have any more questions, leave them down in the comments below. I make sure to respond to every single one of your questions with an answer. And make sure you also hop into our Twitch streams. Twitch.tv/80bpmbassist. I will answer all of your questions in the chat there. So, have a good week.